Hey Stephen, how are you?
Hi, Cameron.
How are you? You good?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Can you hear me okay?
Can you not hear me?
I'm very well, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can you not hear me?
I can. Yeah.
How about now? It appears to be coming through.
I can.
You can hear me? No? Can you not hear me at all?
No, I can.
You can hear me? Yes. Sorry. Okay.
You can't hear me?
No, I can. It just seems to be a bad connection. It's a bit muffly. So there's a bit of a delay, I think. That's why. Not sure why. How are you? How's things?
Good, thank you. Good.
Good. Have we been able to get the welcome video done?
I have time to do that this afternoon.
Right, okay.
Get that done today and send that over to you. I've blocked off a little bit of time to do that.
That's no problem.
Rams. I have done everything else. Because the importing a list took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take.
Right, was there any issues doing that?
Not from an Infusionsoft point of view.
Right, okay.
More extracting from MailChimp and then just tidying it all up and
right.
look after it. Because there was a lot of duplications and stuff like that. So,
okay.
I just wanted to make sure it was all in the right place. And it was like taking out the people who have actually spent before the sale again rather than just people everything back in again.
Right, I see.
So,
but that's all done now.
That's all done, yes. And I sent our first podcast.
Okay, I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. For some reason, the call didn't come up in my calendar. So as soon as I seen your email, kind of had a panic, but it's okay. I've got time, so we can do the full 40 minutes. For some reason, I think it was maybe because I booked it on the American calendar, so for some reason it didn't transport over. But yeah, we've got time now anyway, so we've got a full 40 minutes. On the call today, I'm going to go over Webforms and the welcome sequence. Can you just give me that code again? I know we had a problem with this last time, but the first numbers and letters on before Infusionsoft.com. Can you hear me okay? You froze on my screen.
Oh, hello.
You froze on my screen. Are you there? Is that better? Right, okay, good. You look better as well. It sounds a lot better. So could, I know we had a problem with this last time, but could you give me the digits again and the number before the Infusionsoft.com?
Oh, yes. QZ714.
What was that? Sorry, it broke up a little bit.
QZ714.
QZ714. Give me 2 seconds. I've not been able to transfer that over because 714. There we go. Right, I'll just take a couple seconds. Basically, what I'm doing now is I've built out the welcome sequence for you, but for some reason, because that we didn't transfer that app over under your name. It is under your name, but what I mean is on my screen, all I can see is those numbers. I wasn't able to complete the transfer over of the sequence I built for you, but I'm now able to do that. So I will go ahead and open that up real quickly. 2 seconds, sorry. 2Z714. Right. Tuesday here. Right, okay. So any questions about anything from the first call? No, you happy to go?
No, all good.
Okay.
Good sense when I went in and yeah, about this. That's okay, and well went out.
That's good. That's good. I can see your contacts have gone in. So I'm just going to share my screen with you real quickly. Okay, so can you see my screen okay, yes?
Yes.
So this is your Infusionsoft right here. What I'm going to go through today is you'll notice there'll be a new campaign within your campaign builder that we have built out for you, and that's what we call the welcome sequence. It's going to look very confusing. Sorry, if you didn't see what I did there, I should probably explain. Underneath the Infusionsoft logo, there is a drop-down menu. And underneath marketing, campaign builder, this is where all our campaigns are housed and all our funnels and sequences are housed. So if I click that, it will take me to this page here. And this is where all your sequences will be. You can create your own sequences by hitting create my own campaign. Go to strategy guide. All that does is that's just Infusionsoft's way of explaining what different funnels you can build. But basically, everything we go over on our calls should be able to cover that essentially, but that's just what that button means. You'll notice this welcome sequence that we've created for you. Ignore the ID number, that is just default. Simply go off the name. So if I click on the actual name of the sequence, it'll take me into it. And this is the welcome sequence that we built out for you. Now it looks very confusing, but basically all of these applications, all of these emojis you might want to call them, emoticons, have all been driven across on this left side of the screen. So when I've been building, all I've done is drag something across from here and connected them like so. So these first bits right here, you'll notice that this logo right here represents a web form. So all the web forms that we built out for you in this welcome sequence are all front-facing web forms. What that means is only you and your team will be able to see these web forms. We don't want you to put them on your website or on an ad or anything like that. We want you and your team to fill these in, because basically what this is it's kind of split into two parts. We call this top part the pre part, and the second part the post part. The reason for this is because this is pre something and this is post something. So the web forms at the top part that we've called discovery and straight to eval, we fill in these two web forms depending on what the person has called up for. So if they've called up and we booked a discovery visit for them, we want you or your team to go ahead and fill in this discovery web form. So this is before the discovery visit. If they've gone straight to an evaluation, we want you to fill in the straight to evaluation web form. And this is before their visit. The second half is after their visits, but we'll get to that in a second later. Okay. So to begin with, I'm going to go through the actual web forms. In order to get into any of these, just simply double click. So if I double click this discovery web form right here, give me a second. It's getting a bit slow, which might be why our connection wasn't the greatest earlier. And this is the web form we built out for you. Now, this is pretty much carbon copy of what we have in the physio rooms. So Vicky or someone downstairs will go ahead and they will fill in this web form whenever someone has booked a discovery visit. What happens when the submit button is hit on this web form is that a contact will be created automatically within Infusionsoft, and they will follow the next steps, which we'll get to in a second. Basically, all this has been built out from here is things called field snippets. So in order to create all of these, I've simply dragged down the other box. Don't use the name, email, phone, or any of that. Drag down the other box, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. But basically, the reason for that is these are all what we call custom fields. So the power of Infusionsoft is a lot of pretty much everything can be automated. But if it's not created through a custom field, it can't be automated. So that's why we create everything through custom fields. So all these here, the first name, last name, email, street address, how did you hear about us, phone number, where does it hurt, how long have you suffered for? These are all custom fields. So when these are filled in by your team, or if in later time we create a web form that's on your website, if it's been created correctly with custom fields, whenever this has been filled in, this will be automated into the email sequences and the contact creation. Now, this is just what we've created for you. Some of it is self-explanatory, like these are text boxes, drop-down menus, and this thing right here with bubbles is what we call a radio. So if I drag down this other box, so say I wanted to add another custom to this space right here, this box will automatically appear. So I didn't press anything for that. I just dragged the other box down into the actual web form. Which field? So this is asking you which custom field you want this to represent. What that means is whatever the person answers to this, the custom field will merge across. So say, for example, the custom field is job title. If I went ahead and put in their editor, it would be automated across into my contact that my job title is editor. Something as simple as that, okay? So these all down here, some of these have been created for you when you purchased Infusionsoft. These bottom ones, the more specific questions I've created for you in the last week when I've been building out this welcome sequence for you. And again, this is just what we do in the physio rooms. If we wanted to create our own custom field, which I'm sure you will at some point, simply go to that, drag the other box across, go to the drop-down field, and just hit create a custom field at the bottom. This box will automatically pop up. So for this example, I'm just going to call this a test. Now, the type is what you want the person to fill it in with. So a text is very, very self-explanatory. That's just a text box. Text area is simply just a bigger text box. So if you're asking someone to explain their symptoms, perhaps, or explain more about what's wrong with them, or more about their current position, what they want to get back to, we might want to use a text area. Drop down is what I'm viewing right now. And the rest is pretty much self-explanatory. Date and time, currency, any of that is pretty much self-explanatory. The one that catches people out is the radio one, which I mentioned before, which is effectively this bullet point one here. We use this a lot in the physio rooms, so I'm just going to use this as an example. So if I hit radio, this options box picks up. So if I just hit text then, I could have just hit save field and it would have just remained the same. Because I've selected a predetermined option, what that means is a drop-down with options predetermined, options available, such as a drop-down menu or a radio. I need to enter the options. All I do for that is simply type what I want each option to be and press enter after each one. So for example, in this test, I'll just do 1, enter 2, 3, 4. Press enter after each one, so all of those options, as soon as I hit save, this field will be saved as a new custom field. It will take you back to this menu. The only reason is, do we need this to be required or not? That's basically, when there's an asterisk next to something, you'll know from whenever you've been online shopping or whatever, that means it's a required field. So do we want it to be required or not to complete this web form? So let's just say for this test, yes. If I hit save, see that's been entered there, like that. Straightforward, just like a radio. We've called it test, and those are the options that I pre-created. So we can drag this custom field anywhere we want within the web form by selecting this kind of like a hash bottom there. However, we can delete it from the web form, but only from within the web form. That is housed in a separate part, which I'm going to get to in a second. The frustrating thing about web forms in Infusionsoft is I can drag that, I can drag across pre-created custom fields. However, I cannot actually edit these settings or edit these fields from within a web form. In order to edit any of these fields, I need to go back to the home page essentially. And under that drop-down menu again, we're going to go to admin and settings. If I hit that settings button, if I don't touch my cursor, it's exactly where it follows. That go button right there is the one we want to hit. Custom fields, make sure that says contact, and 99.9% of the time it's going to. Just in case it doesn't, make sure that says contact. If we hit go, it's going to take you to this screen here. These are all the custom fields you have within your database, okay? And you'll notice that there's that test one I've created with radio. So we can edit these here. So if I hit the edit button, I can edit these fields. And if I put 5, 6, 7, then that would say 5, 6, 7 in that web form. Straightforward as that. Nothing confusing about it, just so long as I hit save this field afterwards. So not to confuse you, I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this custom field. So if I delete it from here, it is permanently deleted, okay? But this is where we edit them. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete them. Okay. So again, to get back into the campaign, I'll go to campaign builder, the welcome sequence. If I go back into that web form, you'll see that that is still there. However, the option is different because it's invalid. So all I would have to do in that situation is just go ahead and delete that from the web form. That is now permanently deleted, okay? Any questions on any of that about building the web form?
Nope.
All you need to do with this first part is you'll see the no options available. So you need to follow those steps I just went through if you have multiple PTs or multiple locations. If you don't, it's fine. You can just delete that option, but I don't recommend deleting it from the custom fields in case those things do change in future. So I delete them from the web form if they're not relevant. And where it says no options available, you essentially have to follow the exact same steps, same here as well, that I just went through. So go ahead and edit to make sure those options are available. Just edit the custom field like I've just went through. Okay. Now, in order to actually access this web form, we would need to go to code, sorry, and under here. So if ever you're in the future building out a web form, this first part here is all the information you need to put it on your website. So there's the HTML code unstyled. If you have a webmaster like how we have Fleming, you can simply just send them an email which will include this, and that's everything they need to know to put it live on your website, okay? In order for your front desk team to access this though, this is very important. We go to use the hosted version, and this bottom link, the pretty URL, is where we would fill in this web form. Okay, so we recommend.
Sorry, say that again. So, say an admin person was going to do this, then they would go where?
They would go. So double click on the web form. Go step by step. Double click on the web form. Go to code at the top, and the bottom one, use the hosted version, and it's the bottom URL. It's called the pretty URL. I hit that. That's the web form.
Now, I could just send that link to admin people.
Yes, so that's what I'm going to say. We recommend you send this link to your admin and you bookmark it. Bookmark it as something relevant such as pre-discovery, because this could get confusing. So later on, we're going to go to a post-discovery web form. So this is pre-discovery. So this is before the web form, before the discovery visit, excuse me. They don't need to be signed into Infusionsoft to access this. Anyone with access to that link can access that web form so long as the campaign is published, which I'm going to show you how to do in a second. It's just a simple click of a button. So right now, if I visited this web form, if I wasn't in Infusionsoft, sorry, if I visited that link, it wouldn't work because I've not published the campaign. But as soon as the campaign is published, this link will be live. Okay? So get your admin to bookmark that. Any questions on web forms?
No.
Straight to eval web form is very similar. Nothing different really, apart from it's more, if we'd like to load, that would be very useful. Apart from it's more in-depth questions because the person's come straight to an evaluation. Why is this not loading? Oh, there. Of course it would load as I press back, but it was there. It's just essentially the same. There's nothing different. Within that, you just have to go to the code and the pretty URL, and that would be filled in pre-evaluation versus pre-discovery visit. As soon as the submit button is pressed on those web forms, say the submit button is pressed on this discovery web form, the contact will be created and they will be automatically entered into this sequence right here. Now, this looks confusing, but I'll talk you through it. It's not. Again, anything that's here has just simply been dragged and dropped from the column on the left. So as soon as this contact's been created and entered into the sequence, which is automatically done from the submission of that web form, 3 tags will be applied to this contact. The new patient welcome broadcast land. This is a tag that we apply to literally everyone within our contact list in the physio rooms. And that's because every Sunday, so I recommend you apply this tag to all of your contacts. And that's just because every Sunday at 9 a.m., we send an email to our entire contact list.
Yeah, I think that's what I did when I posted them for that.
Okay. So that just gets applied to anyone that comes in essentially. The start birthday campaign, that just gives you a notifier when their birthday is basically. So that tag's applied to them as well. And the patient status, book to discovery. So with this welcome sequence, I've created a tag category for you called patient status, and that just lets us define where the patient is in their journey. Book discovery is one of those. The most common one, which we'll get to in a second, is live patient. That's someone that's actually receiving treatment from you right now. So those 3 tags are automatically applied with the submission of that web form. Remove one tag, so this might not affect any of your contact that comes into the sequence, but essentially, if the contact already has this tag applied to them, the sequence will automatically remove that from them, so they're no longer a lead because they're book discovery, okay? They will then receive an email from the receptionist team. Basically just confirms the discovery visit. So I would like you to go through and edit this, check the verbiage, make sure it fits your agenda, make sure everything in there is correct. Now you'll see these, I call them squiggly lines either side of this. This is the custom field we were talking about before. This is why it's so important that on the web form is created with custom fields, because then everything is automated. So whatever's filled in on that web form for how long they've suffered for it will say that there. So it looks like a very personal email, but it's all automated. Just double check in the email this is coming from the right person. So I'd recommend, remember we went through on our first call that this comes from an admin. So we would put their name if you want it to appear like it's coming from you, but that's the email address it's coming from, okay? So just make sure you're happy with all that. When you are happy with all that, if we were to go ahead and hit that draft ready button in the top right, you'll notice that it will turn to green. That means it's ready to go. But so it doesn't confuse you, I'm going to double click back into that and unready it. It'll go back to grey. See?
Sorry, how did you make sure it was ready and how did you unready it?
Just like a simple button in the top right next to actions and tests. See this draft?
Sorry, I can't see that because of the video. Sorry.
That's okay. So we would just hit that.
Yeah, sorry.
And it's the same. It's the same with everything. So this sequence, if we're happy with the sequence, we would just ready that up. And what that does is it turns it to this green color, which means it's ready to go. Then this is what we call a delay timer. So we can drag these in between any actions, and that will just put a delay. So essentially 4 hours after this first email, they will receive this email, which is a welcome personally from yourself, business owner. No, sorry, we'll get to that in a second. So for the discovery visit, no, that's for when they're actually evaluation. That's when they're an actual patient. So in this one here, again, go through, play with the verbiage. You can put your welcome video in that. We just don't, but you can do that. We do it on another one. So within here is a personal welcome from yourself.
And do you have a different one for each clinic, or do you have?
So do you have multiple clinics? Two. Okay. So we would just define within that what clinic it is, and we don't actually have different emails per se. It's relatively the same email, because remember in the custom field that was an option which clinic it's at, and it would tell you which clinic it's at, but essentially the rest of it is all the same. You could edit it to be what specific to a clinic. I'll show you how to do that in a second so that it's automated if you want me to, but we don't in the physio rooms. We have the same one for each clinic Paul has. The only difference is depending on what that answer is on the web form will depend on what clinic it says in the email. Okay, so go through and play around with those verbiage, make sure you're happy with that. The other sequence, so this is after an evaluation. Before an evaluation, it's exactly the same. The verbiage is slightly different, but essentially it's exactly the same, the two emails. You see, that's why you'd put your welcome video. So when we get that back to you, all you would do is just post the link in there and it would be there. Okay. The only difference in this sequence is the tags are slightly different. So the first two are always the same. The broadcast land, and sorry, I said the first two, but the broadcast land and the birthday campaign are the same. But you'll notice we've applied this patient status live patient tag, because essentially they are a live patient because they've come for an evaluation or an assessment. Again, we would remove the tag new lead. But the rest of it is identical. There's a 4-hour delay between the two emails. Just the verbiage is slightly different because this is obviously a warmer person, because essentially they're a new patient. Any questions about that first part? Okay, this second part looks more confusing. But essentially all I've done is, if I was to drag across a goal, so let's say a web form, for example, and two sequences. So this is how you attach things, essentially. Select the thing you want to attach it to. So you see there's an arrow. If I just drag that arrow, I'm just simply clicking and holding, drag that across to that sequence. And the same again for this sequence. Same again for this sequence. You see this automatically appears. So this is what we call in Infusionsoft a decision diamond. Essentially what that is Infusionsoft is asking you under what circumstances under this web form does the contact go through this sequence versus this sequence. Okay, so that's why that looks so confusing down there, but it's very straightforward. If you wanted to bulk delete anything, highlight it all, simply press backspace. Delete. Don't know why I didn't delete that, but it will delete everything. So these web forms down here are filled in after the discovery visit on this first part and after the evaluation on this second part. So this web form is filled in with regards to after a discovery visit. So we put in the person's name, last name, and email address so that Infusionsoft can link it with the contact. And then this is the all-important question. Did they go ahead with the evaluation, yes or no? If no, it's vital we fill out this part here about why they didn't go ahead with it, what their pushback was, what their objections was, etc. If they did, then we fill in the details of that appointment and when that will be. Again, this is all accessed under the use the hosted version pretty URL. So we want to go ahead and bookmark this hyperlink right here as a post-discovery visit web form. Once that web form is submitted, you'll see this decision diamond. If ever I wanted to view a decision diamond, we double click it again. And I've created this for you. But if the contacts custom field, did they go ahead? Remember that all important question equals yes, they go into the went ahead with eval. If that contacts custom field, did they go ahead equals no, they go ahead into the didn't go ahead with eval sequence. Essentially, a cheap way to work this out is, does this last option equal that? Yes, went ahead. No, didn't go ahead. Then the custom field has been, the decision diamond has been set up correctly. All you'd have to do is select that, and click the tick option, and you see there's only 2 options available in that custom field. But if it was a custom field with 4 or 5 different options, they'd all be available here. Okay, that's good to go. So if they went ahead with treatment, if that equaled yes, they'd go into this sequence here, which is the went ahead with eval sequence. We'd apply 1 tag to them, the live patient tag, because they're now a live patient essentially. And we'd remove 1 tag from them, which is the tag we applied in the first half, the booked discovery patient status. They would receive just 1 email confirmation of us, which is a confirmation of the evaluation. And all these custom fields would link across all the information filled in that web form. Okay, so go around with this, make sure you're happy with it. It's very straightforward. It's essentially just, this is when your evaluation is. Would go ahead and ready that up when we're ready with it. Ready the sequence up. And that would turn to that green color. If they didn't go ahead with evaluation, we remove the booked discovery patient status tag, and we apply a tag of didn't book eval, just so we know exactly where this contact is. And then this is what we call a task. So remember, we went through it kind of on our first call tasks, you know, they appear on each contact. So this task would automatically be created on this person's contact for your team to call that person back 24 hours after the discovery visit. And this is why it's so important that on that first web form, we fill in why they didn't go ahead with the treatment, because under here, that will all be automated across into the notes section of why they didn't go ahead, so you can touch on those points in the callback.
Yeah, so definitely can still have the information required.
So, if you wanted to add a user for your front team, for your front desk staff, don't know why I struggle so much with that, then they would appear in this drop-down menu. But as it's just yourself, I'm going to put yourself right now. Then we always have the priority at critical. So it doesn't matter what the person is, we always say they're critical. If you wanted to receive an email, we'd select this notify these users part as well, and yourself. I readied that up. That would turn to green. I readied that up. Whole sequence turns to green, okay? So that's ready to go. And essentially what would happen is if they went through that discovery visit and it didn't go ahead with the evaluation, so you selected no in that web form, a task will be notified to yourself to call this person back, and an email will be sent to yourself to call this person back. Okay. With the eval to treatment, so this is the web form after the evaluation. Very similar web form. Again, the all-important question, did they go ahead with treatment, yes or no? Comments to aid the follow-up team if they didn't, the details of their plan of care if they did. Decision diamond is pretty much identical. Did they go ahead equals no, then they go into the didn't go ahead with treatment. If it equals yes, they go into the went ahead with treatment. So if they went ahead with treatment, it's a slightly longer sequence. So we apply the tag of book treatment. We have a treatment confirmation email go out immediately. It just tells them a little bit more about their treatment, when it's coming, the plan of care, that kind of stuff. Again, play around with all this at the top, make sure you're happy it's coming from the right person. Then 14 days afterwards, so a fortnight afterwards, we send this help me help you email. So basically, it's just asking them how they're doing, how their treatment's going, anything you can, you can be doing better, that sort of stuff. It's from you personally, even though it technically isn't because it's automated. And 7 days later, can you help us email? Essentially asking for a referral. And 30 days later, so an entire month later, we have this Strive for Excellence email goes out, which basically tells you a little bit more about, asks them a little bit more about their experience with you. Okay, that's all automated. So go through, make sure you're happy with those emails, make sure you're happy with where they're coming from, etc. If they didn't go ahead with treatment, it's a very similar sequence to if they didn't go ahead with the evaluation after discovery. We remove the live patient tag, we apply a tag of didn't go ahead with treatment, and again, a task is created for you to call that person back about why they didn't go ahead with treatment. And if I put this to you right now with critical and your name, very similar to the first one, if I ready this up, and I'm ready the sequence up, you would receive an email and a task notifier on your My Day that this person needs to be called back. Any questions on any of that? If I wanted to publish, so once I've been through all that, I've readied everything up, I've readied up all the sequences, all this should look this color, every part of it. I'd hit the publish button in the top right. So this would tell me that there's several things that aren't ready, so there's 13 elements not marked ready. I'm just going to publish this just now because this is a front-facing one. If I did hit publish, this is the reporting side of it, so this will tell you how many people are actually within different parts of your sequence. I go back to edit, it will move me back to this screen. And you'll notice these have now turned a solid green. What that means is they're published, they're live. Because obviously we've got lots to do to edit this, if I wanted to unpublish, I'd go to actions, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit the unpublish button. It'll ask you to confirm that you want to unpublish. If we unpublish it, it'll turn back to that green with white. Okay. Another reason that this color might appear is if I've published the campaign and I've went in, I'll just show you, just so you know. So I republished that. Sorry, I should have done this before I unpublished it. To editing, this is all solid green. If I went in there and I edited a part of this task, ready that back up. It won't let me because it's an essential part. Say I put that to Paul, for example. Hit that up. See, that's got green with white lines through it. And it'll be the same with the sequence. That means the most recent, although this is published, the most recent version of this sequence has not been published. So you've made an edit in there and you've not republished it since you made that edit. So you need to just hit the publish button again. Okay. Do that just to make sure that you're not confused later on. I'm still going to go ahead and unpublish this campaign. Any questions on any of that, Stephen?
No.
Okay, there's a lot to digest though, so I'm sure you'll need to look back at this video.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll have a replay. It was quite useful having the last one.
Yeah, but that is the welcome sequence, and that was essentially everything I wanted to go through on the call today. So that's within your campaign builder under your campaigns. So I recommend, again, we have another 2 weeks between this call and our next one. So 2 weeks between now and our next call would bring us to Wednesday the 23rd. I'm actually off on Wednesday the 23rd, but I'm back in the office on October 24th, the Thursday, the next day. So would that do for you?
Let me check.
Bother? So it'd be ideal if we could get one on Thursday the 24th, Friday the 25th, or Monday and Tuesday of the following week, because I'm actually back in the States on the 30th.
Yeah, I can do this Thursday 24th, but the 3:30.
3:30, yeah, that's fine. So that's 3:30 in the afternoon on Thursday the 24th. And that'll be in my calendar because I'm in the UK office. Yeah, that's UK time. Okay, so between now and our next call, you could play around with the welcome sequence, start to try and implement it. But as soon as you can, if you could get that video over to us and we'll get it edited and back to you. So if you could get that over to us by today, by the end of today, we'll definitely have that to you by Monday, okay?
So that's the next one, just to review the
Well, sorry, I didn't hear that. It broke up a little bit.
Sorry. So get the welcome video for you today, and then review the welcome sequence.
Yeah, go into it, edit the emails in the welcome sequence, and make sure you're happy with them. And then if you are, when we get the welcome sequence, the welcome video back to you, if you put that within one of the emails, publish the campaign, and start to put a couple of people through them and see how it goes.
And how do you check the reports, like people the broadcast that are sent? How would you do that?
So it should be on your dashboard if we've sent one. Yes, you'll see this email here. So there, your broadcast emails there. So they're right there. So you got 50% open rates. That's pretty good. So the emails will be housed there if you send a broadcast one. Okay. On our fourth or fifth call, I'll talk you through how to set up this dashboard to make it, so you get the statistics you want on there as soon as you open it up. Okay. So if you have a play around with that welcome sequence and try and get it live when we get the video back to you, and then maybe put yourself through it. Just remember, it's really important that we bookmark those web forms. And have a play around with the web forms as well. So there'll be a couple of things in there that we've created for you that will say no option. I can't remember the exact verbiage, but basically there isn't an option available. So during the first part of this video, when I showed you how to edit those custom fields, go ahead and do that and make sure you put your options in there. If there's any problems, of course, I'm just an email away, okay?
Do you have an example of a welcome video? So I think you're going to send me one last time.
An example of a welcome video?
Yeah.
Yep, I can get one to you. I'll attach one to the video, to this replay video email, which I'll send in the next hour, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks,
Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks on October the 24th, okay?
Thank you.
Any problems, just drop me an email. Thank you very much, and we'll speak soon, okay? Bye-bye.